welcome to this video. So today I'm going to be doing a 2022 year review. This last year was 2022, right? So this has been a big year. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened, but also at the same time, like, it doesn't feel like that much. You know how that happens? I don't know. Anyways, so yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and chat and reminisce over everything we've done over this past year, because it's had some real highs and some real lows. So right now I am 39 weeks pregnant, and some days, like 3 days or so. By the time you're watching this, I could have had a baby, but also I might not have had the baby, so don't get your hopes up. I don't have my hopes up. I feel like she's never gonna come out of me. Anyways, let's start way back in January. We did the most epic trip of our life. We went down to the South Island for 2 weeks in a camper van with our toddler, and it was absolutely incredible. Like, I cannot properly express how amazing that trip was. When we first started the trip, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so sick of living in a camper van with a toddler by the end of it. No, I did not want to give that thing up. I was like, how can I make this a part of my actual life? Like, I just want to live in a van. I want to travel. This is amazing. This is incredible. Everywhere you looked, it was just so beautiful. There were so many things to do. We went from Christchurch all the way down to Queenstown, but then we also went and saw Milford Sound. We actually drove all the way down to Bluff because we found we had a little bit of extra time. So it was kind of fun to be able to say that we went to like the southernmost point of the South Island. Some of the highlights were, you know, like Milford Sound, and I really enjoyed our little walk up Mount Sunday, our big Mueller Hut hike with views of Mount Cook. Just mind-blowing. Like, actually the trip of a lifetime. I don't know how else to say it. Every time I look at the photos and videos from that time, it's just incredible. And I'm so happy that we did it. And like the little bit that we did of the Hoss Pass, so beautiful. Just, I feel jealous of the people that get to live down in the South Island, even though they probably don't like sit there and travel it all the time like I imagine. But anyways, so yeah, 2 glorious weeks traveling around the South Island. Got to do and see so much. I wish we had a little more time to go and see a couple other things, but I'm pretty proud of the amount that we did go and see. So that was the kickstart to our year. Phenomenal start. Right after that, we just spent the rest of the summer just going to a lot of beaches around here. I really got into my garden, which is fun because I've never really gardened before, but yeah, that was my first attempt, and I got vegetables and I ate vegetables, and I was proud of myself. It was the shabbiest little thing in our backyard, but it brought me a lot of happiness. We went to so many beaches. It's great. I don't like swimming that much in the beaches because the water's just a touch too cold for me because I am a giant baby. It was so much fun. Like, they're so beautiful, and you just have to relax at the beach. Like, it's great. And we also did just a lot of like bushwalks and, you know, just a lot of exploring around Auckland. So we kind of like wrapped up the summer doing all that. The next trip that we did was a surprise from Billy. He was like, oh, I'm taking you somewhere. So that's really fun because I love surprises. But we hopped on a ferry and went over to Tiri Tiri Matangi, which, if you don't know, is like a bird sanctuary. Super preserved, and so he booked us one night in like the shared cabins there, and it was amazing. It was so beautiful, and there's just so many birds there, obviously because it's a bird sanctuary. They had this like card that had all the different birds that they had there, and so it just felt like such a game to walk around and try to spot all of them, and it was so much fun. But then the day that we got there, it was so windy that the next day the boats weren't able to come and pick us up. So we brought enough food, diapers, everything for one night and like the next morning. However, we ended up staying another night, so like an extra kind of 2 days. So that was interesting. Not gonna lie, a little stressful, but still like crazy beautiful because we just got to walk around the island. We had so much time to kill. We had our toddler with us, and he absolutely loved just wandering all the time, picking up big sticks, checking out all the birds. We went for a little swim, but it was just such an escape. Like, it was so magical to go there and be like totally cut off from the rest of the world pretty much, because we only had cell reception in a couple little spots, and we were just stranded there with all these strange other people on the island who were also lovely and nice, of course. All super devout like bird watchers. And I'm walking around with my vlogging camera, and they're like, oh, is the microphone on there for catching the bird sounds? I'm like, yes. That's the reason I have this. So another thing that happened this past year is that I got like super into fitness, so much to the point that on a spur whim decision, I was like, I'm gonna become a certified personal trainer. So I did. I like bought a course online and I did it, and I did the test and I thought for sure I would fail. Nope, passed it. So I am a certified personal trainer. Have I done a single thing with it? No. Will I? Maybe, maybe not. But I did really enjoy like studying and learning everything about it, and just like how to build your own programs and stuff, and just feel really confident in what you're doing. So that was really fun for me. Another great thing that happened is that we got COVID for the first time, which it was actually not too bad at all. Just I feel like I have to mark the occasion. Like we finally did get it. And it was the Omicron version, so it was like honestly pretty mild. It wasn't very bad at all. We had 2 days of feeling pretty crummy, and then that was that. It was so long ago that I feel like we're due to get it again anytime now, and I'm much more scared of getting it again because I've had friends that have had it a second time and they're like, it's so much worse because they don't get the milder strain or whatever. Another exciting thing that happened was we found out that we are pregnant. I mean, I already spoiled that at the beginning of the video when I showed you my very large belly, but that was like sometime in March, I think, is when we found out. March or April. It's wild how long pregnancy takes. That's all I'm gonna say. Another little beautiful thing that happened is that William turned 2, and it's just so fun. I love that little boy so much. So the borders finally opened. That's why my mom finally came right after William turned 2, but she was able to come over for 6 weeks, and it was really fun. I say it was really fun, but it was also like a mix of being kind of terrible because she came over. I was like heavily in the throes of the first trimester, and I didn't have any like morning sickness or anything, but I was so crushingly exhausted and tired like all the time. That is my worst symptom that I have this entire pregnancy. So I had no energy to do anything. So I felt so bad because she came all the way out here, and then I was like, oh, let's go and travel and do a bunch of stuff. But it's like I was way too tired. And this has been like one of the wettest, rainiest winters in New Zealand since like the 70s or 80s or something. So the weather was awful. So I never wanted to go on a trip and be like, oh, we're not going to do anything because we're going to sit inside because it's raining the whole time. And then another terrible thing that was starting to happen at that time was we were starting to get the inkling that we might not be staying in New Zealand quite as long as we were hoping. Because when we moved here, we kind of thought that we would be staying here for quite some time, and we loved that idea. We were very excited about that. But yeah, around this time we kind of got the news that it might not be a permanent situation. So yeah, it was just not a great time in life, but I loved having my mom here. It was so great. And then she's so sweet. She kept saying like, oh, I'm here to visit you guys and William. Like, I'm not here to travel all over New Zealand, even though I'm sure she would have loved that, but you get what you get. The next life-changing thing that happened was William started kindy. I wish I could properly show you how much of a life change that was for me, because living here, we have no support. Like, we have some friends and stuff, but I had him babysat like literally twice his whole life for any length of time. And so to go from 100%, I am watching our very high energy toddler, like I can just remember at the end of most days just being like, I am so tired, I'm so exhausted. And then I also just remember like trying to express to Billy all the time, like I don't have any time to do anything, because especially when they're at that age, like you literally can't finish anything. Like you get halfway through one dish and they're about to jump off of something and kill themselves, and so it's like you don't have time to do anything for yourself, for anything that you need to do. It is mentally exhausting and physically. It's just overall so terribly exhausting. You gotta love it, but you can hate it a little bit if you want. So to put him into kindy was just night and day. Like at first I was so nervous about it, and I was like, oh, I feel like such a bad mom. Like I'm a stay-at-home mom. I only have one kid. I don't need to put him in anything. But here in New Zealand, they have free 20 hours at kindy, and yeah, so I put him in. And it has been the best thing in the world, not only for me, but also for him. Like, he loves kindy, and he loves going there. He has, like, such a good little friend, and it has just been the best thing ever. Super glad that we were able to use that while we were here. We also were able to go on a few other trips. We went down to Topah, which was just like a very last minute, and it was phenomenal. Like we got this cute little Airbnb from this Irish woman, and she was so nice. And more importantly, we went and just saw some really beautiful things down there. We expressly went down there with the intention of just relaxing and getting away from Auckland for a little bit and just taking a step back from life. And it was like the perfect trip that we needed at that time. We also made a trip down to Wellington, which was the opposite of what I just described. It was a little bit cold. Like, it wasn't too windy or rainy or anything. Like, we actually lucked out with the weather. For the time of year that we went, everybody was like, you're gonna hate your trip. But it actually was pretty fun. However, we were just so burnt out at this point. Like, we went down there and I had this whole big list and itinerary of all these things I wanted to do and see, and I wanted to just go. And then we got there and we're both like, help. Like, I can't. Also, like, our son got sick on that trip, and so it just, a lot of the stuff didn't happen. It was still a lovely, lovely trip, and I'm really glad that we got to go down there because that is the only time I've ever seen Wellington. And then we also just recently went down to Rotorua. That was for Billy's work, and so we just went for one night. We've been there before, but it's such a beautiful area. Like, you have the hot springs, you have the redwood forest, like, there's just so much natural beauty all around there, so really enjoyed our time. We also got to experience our very first and our very last All Blacks game. 3, 2, 1! Yeah, our friends had like really good tickets, and they were like, hey, if you want some, because we really wanted to get to see at least one All Blacks game, and it was so much fun. Like, it was so much more fun than I was expecting. You pick up on the energy of the crowd and everything, and they won their game, and it was just so exciting. There's like fire going off, everybody's screaming, everybody's just having a grand old time. I wish we had gone to more, but oh well. I love how short the games are. Like, American football games are so long. So when it was over, I was like, that's the end? It's over? Because, you know, that's like halftime for football. Anyways, so it was around this time that we did get the very hard and sad news that we would not be staying in New Zealand because Billy's job ended. It did not go on like we had anticipated when we moved over here. Not much to say about that. I've already talked about it a bunch, but it was a very emotionally turbulent time for all of us, but especially for me. I don't know. I've just loved living here so much, and I feel like we've worked so hard to assimilate ourselves into our lives here. Like, settled. We've settled here is what I'm trying to say. We have been here for almost 2 years now, and we've made such good friends, and I like love the life that we have set up here. And I just feel like I still want to do so much more, but not the way it happened. So we got to go where we can make money. And so, yeah, we had to make the hard decision that we needed to move back to the States. This last winter has felt very long, very depressing. It's been so rainy and cold. However, it is now summertime. I'm trying to stare at these bright blue, fluffy white cloud skies. We've gone to the beach already so many times, and you can't be as sad in the summertime. So yeah, we spent a lot more time just kind of staying a lot more local, trying to chill out a little bit. Just a lot of stuff around Auckland. So like a lot of good food, a lot of good beaches and bushwalk. A lot of time hanging out with friends, enjoying our child-free time every time he'd go to kindy. Another thing that we did recently, so it was my birthday and Billy surprised me with like a maternity photo shoot because I kept saying that I really wanted that, but I wasn't like actually doing it for myself. And so he knew a photographer in the orchestra, and so we went out to Piha and took the most beautiful photos, and I love them so much. And we kind of snuck in some family photos as well as maternity photos, and I'm so glad because I love them so much. It was a perfect little photo shoot too. Like, we went out to Piha, which is just naturally so beautiful, and then we went at sunset, so it's like golden hour, so beauty layered upon beauty here. And then we got the most perfect sunset. It was just, every time you looked at it, you just have to like leave your body a little bit. I don't know, it was gorgeous. And I was so happy that it worked out that day because we had planned it the next day and it poured rain all that day, all the next day, and it was just like trash weather for the whole next week. And I'm like, oh, I'm so glad we managed to get out there and do it a day early because beyond perfection. So yeah, that brings us up to December, where Billy finished his last few concerts up, and now we're just kind of floating in limbo waiting because I guess I'll run through our whole plan that we have as such. So I am due in a week, less than a week. So I should be having the baby anytime now. And then as soon as the baby comes out of me, we are going to be putting in all of the like passport information because I can't fly with the baby until we have her passport, which is very stressful and annoying and terrifying, honestly, because worst case scenario, Billy flies back. You know what? I don't even need to go into all of this because we don't know what's going to happen. And this is a year in review, not a what's going to happen video. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Ugh. So yeah, Billy finished his job and it's been kind of nice, honestly. He has lots of time to practice now and we all get to hang out with each other. And like I said, we have had beautiful weather recently and we have been just enjoying going to the beach a ton and just like going to water parks with William and just having a grand old time. We also just did Christmas, which was exciting, but not exciting. Like it was fun, but it was just very low key and low energy. And like me and Billy didn't get each other anything because we want a lot of things. However, we didn't want to buy them to get them to then have to haul them back to the States. So we're like, we're just going to do nothing. And then William got like 3 little toys and some snacks and stuff. So yeah, we've been focusing on having fun. But this past year has just been, I don't know. It's been a lot wrapped up into one. Like I said, it's been like some super high highs, but it's also just been some real low lows. It's just been all over the place. We're kind of in a low right now, if I'm being honest with you. But I know this and everybody keeps telling me everything will be fine in the end. I know that it will be. However, this moment is hard. And it'll be fun looking back on this video and being like, oh man, what a stressful time you were going through. But now look at our beautiful life that we have built for ourselves. Like I was saying before, it's just so wild how long a pregnancy goes on because I've been pregnant since like March. We are in December and I'm still pregnant. And it feels like it's never gonna end. So this whole past year, like everything that we have done, most of it, except the first couple months, I've been growing a human inside of my body this whole time. And I have great pregnancies, so I really can't complain too much. It's just like, it is crazy to think that I've done so much of life being this pregnant. I don't know. I'm almost done. I have a couple more things left. They just got home.
Okay, mommy's almost done.
Oh, look at them. So, in case you're new here and have gotten this far, this is... That's mommy's phone, yeah. Anyways, William. It's also just been so incredible watching William grow over this past year. It's my favorite thing because it's like he goes from this little 1-year-old to now he's like a big 2.5-year-old, almost 3-year-old, and they just grow in leaps and bounds and stuff. And just watching his personality get bigger and bigger, and it's just so cute. Not to say that this year has been like super easy with him. Like I love this age, but also like he's a toddler. It's a lot sometimes. He's just one of the like most strong-willed people I've ever met, which I love. I love that for him. But yeah, there have been some stressful moments, like calling to mind the 2 ER trips that we had like in 1 week. Yeah, but no, it's been so fun. He's the cutest and I love him. We both do. That is our year in review video. I said this in my last video. I feel like nobody should care about these, but I love them because it's like my fun little summary of the whole year. It's fun to look back on these. But we have an exciting few months coming up because we're gonna have a baby in New Zealand, which is crazy. So I'm excited to experience that. And then we're going to somehow pack up our house, sell everything, move countries. My husband needs to find a new job, so he's gonna be auditioning all over the place. And then who knows where we'll be. So we're technically moving to Utah. However, we're not like settling there until he gets a job somewhere. So it's tricky and we don't know what's gonna happen. So follow along if you want to find out with us. Cause yeah, it's something. Anyways, I just wanted to say a very big thank you to everybody that has followed along with us. I know that this channel has started out as something and now it is like changing into something else. Because I started this channel because I wanted to document our journey here and just our life and the making in New Zealand. And now we're leaving it. And it's been too short of a time. And I understand that a lot of people followed us for a lot of New Zealand content, and that's unfortunately going to be ending pretty soon here. So that's all to say. Thanks for sticking around with us if you have. I will continue making fun content about our lives, and yeah, we'll see where we end up. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.